Hello everyone, and today I'm going to be doing a scored review on Far Cry Classic. Now this game is developed by Ubisoft Montreal and published by Ubisoft. Now this is a first-person shooter, excuse me, and it's plain and simple just a stage-based first-person shooter. Now I will just load a mission here to play in the background while I do this. Now this game, its story is decent. I mean, there's some gaps in it, but it's decent for what it is. Obviously, I didn't show the intro, which you are playing as Jack Carver, and you are a former, I believe, special ops soldier, and your goal is to survive this island, rescue 2 people, get betrayed, and, you know, get off the island. It's just a game about trying to survive against all odds. Aside from that, you know, there's some oddball gaps in the story that might make you go, but also at the same time, it's a pretty fleshed out story. Now, the controls for this game, I'm gonna have to admit, let me start with the graphics. This being a last generation game, 360/PS3 style era game, the graphics don't hold well because this is pretty much just a touched up remaster of an old, I believe, PC only game. The graphics aren't the best, but I mean, they are not horrible either.
I've got to find a way out of
here. As for the controls, this to me was one of the places that the game suffered. Now, you see me looking around, I'm barely touching the stick and I have sensitivity turned down. It's not very smooth on the aiming, so sometimes you kind of got to be like right on point or you're going to miss a lot of shots. But actual gameplay itself is pretty simple. It's just, you know, your standard first-person shooter. I had to switch the controls around to better match my playstyle, so aside from that, I mean, the controls and the gameplay aren't too bad. If you've played Call of Duty, you've got an idea of what kind of things you can do in this game. There's a handful of weapons to choose from. Some don't show up till much later in the game. Now, as for the gameplay itself, it's just your average first-person shooter. Now, the great thing I did enjoy about the gameplay is the aesthetics of when you're playing through the game. You have situations where it's an action run and gun, and then you have other situations where you feel like it's a survival horror, and you don't want to be spotted. Now, my issue with one of the core game mechanics is stealth. Now, if it had been implemented right, the stealth would have been awesome in this game. But there is a lot of situations where, like, you could stealth through a bush or something and you get spotted from, I'm going to exaggerate, like, miles off. Now, for the music and the sound effects, they're pretty good. There's not really much music in the game, but the sound effects, gunfire, the voices that you hear, they're all pretty clear and easy to understand and figure out. You know, if you hear gunfire, you know it's gunfire. If you hear an explosion, you know it's some kind of explosion. Let's see. Now, this game, since it's an Xbox game, it includes achievements, and the achievements for this game are pretty varied, most of which are just
I know you're there.
complete the
I've been tracking
story
you since you
or
and Val arrived.
beat this
Who are you?
stage
I'm the
on
guy who's...
this difficulty without dying. I did a whole walkthrough of the game on my site, so if you want to go see it, the whole walkthrough is there, beginning to end, on normal
Reports say you're
difficulty.
in a red shirt. I suggest you grab some body armor and cover.
Other than that, I mean,
Spotted.
it's the achievements aren't that bad. I unlocked them all, so it's manageable. And I'm not the best at first-person shooters. Now, I generally rate games of 5 for average versus the industry standard of 7 or 8 out of 10. So, this particular game, all things considered, it being old and outdated, the graphics and stuff aren't that bad. So, I just think it loses points on the aspect of the controls and the mechanics not working as well as current generation games are. But again, this is an old game, so I'm going to give this game a 6 out of 10. It's slightly above average. I did enjoy it for a little bit, but I mean, there's very clearly better first-person shooters out there nowadays. So I'll see you guys in the next scored review.